Well, the Champions League is over, and as absolutely everybody in their right mind predicted, Real Madrid won it. So there's a couple of things that I want to pull from this. Right, you probably watched the match. I'm not going to sit here and describe the match to you, but I've seen a lot of discussion, particularly after the match, about Real Madrid and just kind of what this means, right? Because we're now looking at an entire generation of players in Cruz and Modric and Nacho and Carvajal, like these guys that have won 6 Champions Leagues. This era of dominance for Real Madrid over the last decade plus in terms of Champions League titles that is truly unprecedented. Now, I tweeted my initial thoughts, and I'll just kind of echo them for you, just in case you happen to not follow me on Twitter, which, first of all, how dare you, obviously. But second of all, I have never liked Real Madrid, but you simply have to marvel at their European greatness. Biggest club in the world, absolutely no question about it. I can't think of a reasonable argument for any other club being considered the biggest club in the world, right? The Champions League is the biggest club competition. It's the most money. It's everything, right? For all these clubs. And I love the clubs that are playing in South America, right? In particularly the Brazilian clubs that'll be at the Club World Cup. They're going to come in with a fighting chance, right? They're going to have a knockout puncher's chance, like any title fight. But Real Madrid, they're it. Right? As much as I hate them, as much as they're annoying, as much as it feels like the refs are on their side, like you have to go out and win. Even if they have plot armor, you have to go out and get it done. And Real Madrid, they go out and get it done. Right? And one of the big takeaways that's come from this final is this Borussia Dortmund team, which played amazing, right? I cannot wait for the Bundesliga season next year because you've got a resurgent Stuttgart, a pissed off Bayern, an unbelievable Leverkusen, and you've got this Dortmund team that looked fantastic. I mean, Nicholas Füllkrug was amazing. Jadon Sancho was alive. You know, he has a pulse. He's on the field. He's not locked out of the team, right? He's playing like it. Adeyemi is good, right? Like, obviously, he wasn't razor sharp in the finishing department today, but he was causing problems. Like, this was a team in Dortmund that had a lot of pieces that are exciting, that are going to kind of gel and continue. Obviously, Marco Reus is not going to be a part of that, but they're going to gel and continue to get better. And I think Dortmund is got a puncher's chance at the Bundesliga title next season if they didn't have that Tottenham voodoo about actually being able to win the league, right? That they have a puncher's chance to win the league. And they were amazing, particularly in the first half, as everybody's kind of pointed out. The Borussia Dortmund was the better team in the first half. They had a couple of big chances. Füllkrug hit the post. I think he was offside on that play. I think he would have been found offside. Champions League is usually a little more reliable than Premier League referees or La Liga referees that I spend a lot of time talking about here. But I think he would have been offside, but he hit the post. Adeyemi was in on goal, tried to round him and wasn't able to score. Dortmund was all over them. But the difference in these moments is the consistency of execution. And there is no team that does a better job at consistently executing in the big moments than Real Madrid. What's the difference in this game? It's attention to detail. It's confidence and concentration, right? Because in the first half, even though Dortmund was dominant, I think it was in the first half, it might have been early in the second half, there was a corner where Dani Carvajal won the header. It was like a near post run. Dani Carvajal wins the header and it missed, right? So Dortmund should have gotten the warning shot there. Dani Carvajal, not a big guy, right? Like the announcers of the game were very keen to remind you because you know where this is going if you watch the game. The first goal Real Madrid scores, which is the goal that really makes all the difference in this equation, right, is a goal where Dani Carvajal, the fullback, who again, not tall, makes a very simple run and is clearly the target of the corner. That was a play Real Madrid had run, and Dortmund just didn't pick up on it. Sometimes it's that simple. You can play a great game, but if you lose in the margins, you can lose the whole game, and Real Madrid will beat you in the margins. It wasn't a complex play. It was just a surprise. Dani Carvajal apparently he's pretty good at heading the ball. And Carlo Ancelotti kept this ace in the hole right up his sleeve and just slapped it down on the table. And a couple of times in this match, they ran a Dani Carvajal near post corner, and it worked. Dortmund did not cover him aggressively. And Toni Kroos has taken the corner. That dude could hit a gnat's ass from the other side of the field, and he just lays it right on Dani Carvajal's head, and it's in the back of the net. All of a sudden, you're losing 1-0. And Real Madrid is not going to give you anything for free. They literally never do. They play with such confidence and composure, consistency in their technique, from the goalkeeper to the striker, right? The second goal, Vinicius Jr. ends up on goal at an angle after a terrible pass from Ian Maatsen, but Dortmund's pressing, right? They're frantic. They're trying to get the ball up the field. Real Madrid's able to cause a turnover, and Vinicius Jr. is in on goal. But composure and consistency, that's the difference, right? Because Karim Adeyemi had an even better chance than Vinicius did in the first half, but he boofed it. He wasn't able to get the ball into the back. He overthought it. He tried to go around the goalkeeper to make the shot simpler, and he took the shot away from himself, where Vinicius got the ball, knew exactly what he wanted to do, and put it away. Now, Adeyemi, a lot of the time in that position, he'll get the ball and know exactly what he wants to do and put it away. Right? But Real Madrid just does it a little bit more, right? I do believe there is probably on the planet right now one team that is better than Real Madrid. It's Manchester City, but Real Madrid beat them anyways. They beat them anyways because of that confidence, the composure, and just the concentration. I was once told when I can't remember what I was watching, but it was non-league team in England was playing against, I think, a League One team, right? I believe it was like the class of 92. They made a documentary about Salford City, right? And I'm watching that documentary, and the coach of Salford City is saying, look, the only difference between us and them, you can do what they can do. They just do it more consistently. So what you need to do is, if you're a non-league team, is just have that on day. You might not be able to play at that level every day or make that pass every day, but you need to be able to make that pass today. That was like his motivational speech. And I think that's true. I think if you take any player from the second division up in basically every major country in professional league, they can make a pass Toni Kroos can make more times than not. But Toni Kroos can make that pass literally every single time. He can hit Dani Carvajal on the forehead every single time. And 90 minutes is not that long. You're only going to have a few opportunities every game to be able to make that pass. And so when that opportunity shows up, you have to be able to make it. And Real Madrid makes that play every single time. And I'm impressing that point because a lot of people are trying to discredit what Real Madrid's accomplished. There's a couple of trains of thought. The first train of thought is that Real Madrid spends the most money, gets the best players, and that's why they win. 50 years ago, yeah, that's exactly what was happening. Now, that's not what's happening. Something else is happening at Real Madrid. A belief, a system of development, a structure and a consistency that's in place, and an expectation that is entirely unyielding, right? Because the truth is Real Madrid does not have the most money in the world. That falls particularly over the last decade to Manchester City. They were literally breaking the rules of FFP in England to be able to spend even more money, right? Chelsea just spent $1 billion on transfers over the course of a calendar year. Manchester United's net transfer loss over the last 10 years is over $1 billion. That includes transfers where they sell play. Like, that's the net loss. Real Madrid's got none of those numbers. Real Madrid spent $100 million for Jude Bellingham, but any team in the world that has $100 million to rub together would have spent that money on Jude Bellingham, right? That is, they didn't reach on that. They have built this team by acquiring the players that they wanted to acquire and build the team they wanted to build. And they also did not hastily remove their team when they didn't win the league and they didn't win the Champions League one year, right? They weren't overly hasty about it because that core of players, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, and guys that get overlooked all the time in these sorts of discussions about great players like Dani Carvajal and Nacho, right? And the importance of a steady goalkeeper who is just unbelievable, like Thibaut Courtois can come back from 2 knee surgeries and play a brilliant first half, right? Razor sharp, right? It was his first Champions League match of the year. It was the Champions League final. Are you kidding me? And he was already at that level. I was doubting Don Carlo. I shouldn't have been, when he said that Trubin wasn't going to start, even though Trubin had a bit of a flu, and that they were going to go with Thibaut Courtois. But Courtois was ready. He was there. He was great. Right? These players exist in other places. Do you remember Antonio Rudiger at Chelsea? They exist in other places, but they don't play to the same standard. I'm not saying that there's magic in the water. I'm just saying that Real Madrid is not spending its way to success. They are finding the right players. They are putting together the right team, and they are preserving a truly excellent winning core of guys that they don't know how to do anything other than win. All they do is win. All they expect to do is win. When Vinicius Jr. first got to Real Madrid, he wasn't a winner. It took him years. It took him years of Karim Benzema chastising him, saying, I swear on my mother he's playing against us, right? Years to get that mentality. But now Vinicius Jr. is a serial winner. He can't stop winning. And now the next generation is going to learn from the Camavingas and the Vinicius Juniors and the Rodrigos how to be a serial winner. But because of the incredibly strict nature of Spanish FFP, just go ask Barcelona down the road how strict Spanish FFP is, because they can't register their own coach right now because it's over the FFP limit, right? It's not like Real Madrid is the only team that's able to do this. Now, Florentino Perez is better at his job than anybody else, the guy that runs Real Madrid. He's able to get great players to believe that he is wanted at Real Madrid, to dream of playing at Real Madrid so that they end up going there. And things just work out for Florentino Perez. He's one of those people that pulls all the strings, does all the little fine things in the margins, much like his team on the field, to be able to build these types of teams, from getting Kylian Mbappe for free, right, or to selling guys on his bench for lots of money. He does every single part of the business incredibly well, and clearly it works. He builds these types of teams. There's another thought process that I found interesting, because I tweeted this out and got plenty of replies. I'm starting to wonder the mentality of the players. They chose Real Madrid, and it puts their career on easy mode. How meaningful can winning be when the best 11, 15 players in the world all join up to win? I don't think that I don't think Real Madrid has the best player in the world on their team. I don't think Real Madrid has had an argument for having the best player in the world on its team since Cristiano Ronaldo left. Right? I mean, they don't. I mean, I know Luka Modric won the Ballon d'Or, but let's be honest, it's because he got Croatia to a final. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, but I'm also not saying Luka Modric is the best player on the planet. They're the best team on the planet. They're the best tournament team on the planet. And it's not particularly close, because they just have they grow serial winners. There are certain people that are likely born serial winners, but it's not easy to win. If it was easy to win, everybody would do it. We already went over how much money is spent. We're talking about the best athletes in the world, mentally and physically, the best athletes in the world, with unlimited money at a bunch of different clubs to try and sign those best athletes, like to win this one tournament. And there's only one team that wins it. That's not easy to do, right? You watch these people, right, for 90 minutes once or twice a week, right? But there are hours and hours and hours of time in the dark that it takes to be able to win with this consistency. Well, there's the old Michael Jordan quote about how I made 1,000 buzzer beaters because I missed 2,000 shots, right? Like that's all about practice. It's like, I'm confident in taking the last shot because I've done this more than you have, right? Like, I've done this move more than you have. I've practiced this more than you have, and so I'm going to be able to do it more. Like, it takes one thing to be able to win it once. Looking at you, Chelsea, and nobody can take that away. You have the trophy, and that's it. You won, and they beat Real Madrid on the way to that. Shout out Christian Pulisic and the crew, but if you are going to be able to defend the title and win consistently and win 6 Champions Leagues in your career, it's so hard to win, right? It is not easy to win. I mean, everybody else is trying their hardest. Like, think about a Sunday league match you play in, right? And everybody's going 100%. It's so much more annoying, right? Now think about, you're going 100% against Kylian Mbappe, against Erling Haaland, against Phil Foden, and Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, and you're beating them. And you beat them every time, right? There's no team trying harder to win this Champions League final than Borussia Dortmund. This isn't a question of effort. This is just a question of winning. And Real Madrid wins. But it's not on easy mode. It takes an unbelievable amount of work. And Real Madrid identifies the people that want to put in that work, and they value them, and they show those people the way, right? Because you can be really determined and still not know what it takes. And then there's it's getting obvious year by year with the referees on their side. I am just not a huge believer in referee corruption, right? Like, I get the argument, and I love to lean into the memes like, oh, it's Real Madrid, they're going to get a call or whatever. And yeah, there have been some favorable calls towards Real Madrid, but that's also just the nature of sport, right? If anybody's ever played sport for more than 5 seconds, you know that sometimes the call goes your way and sometimes it doesn't, right? But you control so much else over the course of the match that you can win the match when a call goes against you and lose the match when a call goes for you, right? And to be able to win so consistently, if you paid every ref in the world to try and sneakily, right, make a call, like give a call or two to Real Madrid, you could do that with any other club in the world. And they wouldn't have 6 Champions Leagues in the last, whatever it is, 11 or 12 years. They just wouldn't. There's also stuff like this, a ref that gives every call in their favor, and the second goal is a big mistake by the defender. Borussia Dortmund beat everybody else, right? And you know who didn't make a mistake in this game? Real Madrid. And you know who finished off that chance? Vinicius. You know who missed a better chance in this game? Karim Adeyemi, right? Like, you can point at a million different things, but in sports, at the highest level, did you win? Yes or no? And for Real Madrid, the answer is just, like, always yes. They just win. There's the old adage that football is a game where you kick a ball around for 90 minutes and the Germans win. We'll change the Germans to Real Madrid, because that is what they have become. I know they were amazing back in the mists of time, but Real Madrid has won 6 of its 15 Champions Leagues in the past 11 or 12 years. They are unbelievably good, and we will miss them when they're gone. This nameless, faceless blob of players, from Danny Carvajal to Nacho, that get overlooked, and Modric and Toni Kroos, who for so long was underappreciated. But again, talking about somebody who could hit a gnat's ass from the other side of the field and do it 100 times in a row. right? Steph Curry's not great because he made one long three-pointer. Steph Curry's great because he can make 30,000 long three-pointers. Real Madrid's great because they can do everything they did on the field 100 times over without making a mistake. But are Real Madrid the enemy? Are they the evil empire? Yeah, obviously they are. They were part of the Super League thing and they win all the time. So everybody would love to see somebody else win. But at the same time, you just have to acknowledge how ridiculously good they are. And the last one here, please, Elon, let's be real. It's just luck and counterattack with pace. They never even deserved to be in the final in the first place. I mean, the only way you can earn your way into the final is beating everybody else you play, and they did. At a certain point, right, in one particular match, you can say who deserved it and who didn't, right? But luck and the effect of luck wears off over a longer and longer and longer period. That's why a league season is not contested over one match against every other team. You play every other team twice. In some leagues, you play every other team 3 times, right? That reduces the impact of luck, right? So that you're able to get the better team at the top of the table. And in the Champions League, it's a knockout tournament, so luck has a bit more of an effect. But over this long of a period of time, this consistent of success, this absence of mistakes, this razor-sharp execution, this feeling of inevitability because they're going to give you nothing and take everything, that's not luck. That's just being better at what you're doing than other people. And the whole point of sports is to do that. And they're doing it better than anyone. I hate that I have to make this video. I would have loved if Borussia Dortmund won, but congratulations to Real Madrid fans. Screw you for having such a successful team. You better enjoy it or else I'll be really mad at you.